Greetings, my fellow free mother sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful realms of planet Earth. Today's date is Sunday, July 12th, 2026. It's episode 1972. Rest in shame, Senator Lindsey Graham, and can we really trust our feelings? Before I proceed, you can follow me on multiple social media sites and podcast channels. Just type in Looky Luck number 3, Looky Luck Roman number 3, 3 eyes, or Looky Luck Roman number 3 podcast. Furthermore, if you have any questions, comments, recommendations, all that good stuff, whatever you do, please use decorum. Hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me. If you're going to donate, go to paypal.me or cash on app /Looky Luck number 3. Oh, yeah. Hope everyone's doing well, focusing, and learning to decentralize yourselves the best of your ability. Typical ordeal, chaos, civil rights violations. I call it natural rights, to be exact. And beyond. People still talking about the World Cup, which is cool. I'm not going to, wig out over that. It's just entertainment. U.S. lost to Belgium, and people are mocking that. Hey, it's a tournament. What can you expect? Belgium had a good squad, and I know they lost to Spain recently, so a lot of upsets too during this event. Is this how it goes? And a lot of folks want to have that miracle on the grass, right? Miracle on the grass. Saw a commercial with about the U.S. winning the World Cup. One of the people at the bar went, "Well, you believe they're going to win the World Cup?" And Mike Orzoni, "Do you believe in miracles?" He is the one who won the gold medal in 1980 with the USA Olympic hockey team. So it was funny. I liked it. But like I said, there's always going to be competition with these events, and see what happens at the next one, which was supposed to be hosted by 3 nations: Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. But truth of the matter is, people appreciate it, and the folks that are visiting here in the United States really love it. How the media manipulates there is a dangerous country. We'll be living in a dangerous world, but it varies. And when they go to different states to see the matches, they're like, "Wow, this is pretty cool." So a lot of folks appreciate it, and that's why we can't take things for granted. We gotta be vigilant. And who cares what the Marxonian hacks or totalitarian Uncle Toms and Aunt Jemimas tell you how to tell you how it should be. Doesn't work that way. So okay, well, I'm going to be reading this article here. A couple of things in reference to Lindsey Graham. I just found this out this morning. It says here for the Epoch Times, Senator Lindsey Graham dies at 71. It's by Melanie Sun. Senator Lindsey Graham died from a brief sudden illness Saturday evening. His office said in the statement, on the evening of Saturday, July 11th, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham passed away from a brief and sudden illness. The statement shared on X reads, "Senator Graham's family appreciates prayer expressed at the time and asked for privacy during this incredibly difficult period." The 71-year-old was elected to the Senate in 2002 during President Trump's second term. Graham was a close ally supporting the president's military actions against the Iranian regime. A long-time hawk on Iran, Graham leaves a legacy of backing policies aimed at isolating the country and limiting its missiles and nuclear programs, among his many other achievements. An outpouring of condolences for the senator was quick to follow the news, from colleagues in the U.S. Congress to leaders around the world. The president called Graham one of the greatest people and senators I have ever known in a post on Truth Social. He was always working, was a true American patriot. Lindsey will be greatly missed, Trump said. So sad. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Republican from South Dakota, said in a statement that his heart was heavy. Lindsey's long and dedicated service in the Air Force and in Congress carried him to far-flung regions of the world. He was a strong advocate for the United States and a strong ally to freedom-loving countries across the globe. He believed in the might of America to achieve good in the world and dedicated his life to advancing that cause. So he's saying it's okay to get involved in foreign entanglements, right? I'll keep on going here. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster called Graham irreplaceable and the fiercest fight for South Carolina in America and a loyal and steadfast friend. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expresses condolences to Graham's family. Israel has lost one of its greatest friends. America has lost a great patriot. I have lost a beloved friend, he said. May his values and initiatives continue to guide us toward victory and peace, and may his memory forever be a blessing. Graham was not married and lived in Seneca, South Carolina. He was first elected into public office in the 1990s as a member of the South Carolina House of Representatives and then a member of the U.S. House. He recently served as a chair of the Senate Budget Committee. He also served as a member of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, the Senate Judiciary Committee, and the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works. He had planned on seeking re-election on his fifth term in the Senate in November elections. Graham has just returned from a trip to Kyiv, Ukraine, where he announced on July 10th a new bipartisan legislation called the Sanctioning Russia Act, which had been under negotiation for months with the U.S. House and Senate. Richard Blumenthal, Democrat from Connecticut, Janine Shaheen, Democrat from New Hampshire, and Roger Ricker, Republican from Mississippi, of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. We are proud to announce that we have reached an agreement with the Trump administration to move our updated Russia sanctions legislation forward. The senators said in a joint statement, we are very pleased with the significant progress. Expect to roll out the legislation very soon. The legislation will allow the United States to sanction parties buying Russian oil and natural gas, fueling the Putin war machine, they added. Well, if you study patterns that's been going on under foreign policy, a thing called blowback, I'll be very sincere in that. And it's been planned out with this invasion of Ukraine, or the Ukraine conflict, for a very long time. And one of them you can read, too, is by the book by Zbigniew Brzezinski on the Grand Chessboard. And that jurisdiction was mainly a pawn to the Grand Chessboard. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff to read. That's just one example. And we all know, too, the Ukrainian government has been very corrupt for a long time, at least 1,000 years, historically speaking. I'm not here to knock the people of Ukraine, because they're suffering dearly from this, in my honest opinion, a Rothschild-approved war. But one thing you have to realize about Senator Lindsey Graham, he was never a true patriot, based on his voting record, a very streaky character. I don't wish this man ill, but he infuriated a lot of people. And I know I went on his X account, and many people out there, they have, they just start mocking him, you know. And it's very interesting. So one hit says here, Lindsey Graham going to hell. Rest in peace, you effing traitor. Sudden illness with the missile on there. And of course, a crowd celebrating. People are celebrating. Just do a total mockery. And another one here. You spent years thinking you need therapy, but it turns out what you really need was Lindsey Graham dead. So a lot of folks are highly critical of him, which I do understand. I do understand completely. And based on his voting record, I do criticize him as well. And I was like looking through here on his Freedom Index. That's my dog chewing on a cup. So it's okay. Lindsey Graham, according to the Freedom Index, which is John Birch Society, to be honest, he was a very streaky. His voting record is way below 60%, so he has a high F, you can say, 57% freedom score. So he wasn't all that patriotic, okay? Because some of the stuff here he did, the stuff he voted was good, and others unacceptable. And we'll definitely, I'm going to add this to the link. You can see it for yourselves, like especially Federal Reserve interest payments. Senator Rand Paul amended, which is Senate Bill 2296, Federal Reserve interest payments, rejected 14 to 83. Prohibits any Federal Reserve Bank from paying interest on reserve balance that are maintained at the Federal Reserve Bank or on behalf of a big bank or another depository institution. That's under Constitution, U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8. It was a constitutional bill, but Lindsey Graham voted no. So, is he a bankster's butt boy? Based on that, he's a potential suspect. Of course, the budget resolution, which is Senate Convention Resolution 22, got ejected. He voted no. He was against on reducing agriculture funding. He did support rescissions, which is fine. Rescinds $9 billion in funding previously appropriated for Congress for the fiscal 2025. He voted for that, which is fine. Ending grief subsidies, he voted no. And the Genius Act, he voted yes, because it was considered unconstitutional. Because the fact is this, when you look at it, because with the Genius Act, it has cryptocurrency stablecoins. Gold and silver is supposed to be sound money. Okay, so, and that's a fact. That's why I always prefer people to go on the state level to vote for gold and silver bill for financial transactions as an option. I know multiple states done it. Florida was like the latest one I know so far. And sometimes I can be critical towards Ron DeSantis, but it doesn't mean everything he signed is wrong. So I'll be fair. So yeah, he voted for some stuff here, which I agree with and I disagree. Like he was against the debt ceiling. He was okay to enhance it. So and USA funding cuts, he voted no. He does support protecting women's sports and EPA emissions rule, deficit reduction. So when it comes to a lot of finances, he's not all that. But so best thing to do. Oh well, Medicare for abortion survivors. Okay, that's an interesting bill, Senator Bill 6. And of course, he loves continuing appropriations. Canceling Ukrainian debt, he voted yes, so that's a good thing. So you go look, he's a very streaky guy. All right, of course, FISA authorization. He's a pro-peeping Tom. And foreign aid packages, love to spend money to other countries. So just to give you guys and U.S. surveilling U.S. citizens, yeah, he's for that. He voted no on it because he wanted to end it. Requesting all that, he says okay. So it's okay for technocrats to run our lives. That's Lindsey Graham for you. So I'm definitely going to end this. I will definitely add this link to it so you can actually do your little homework and verify everything. You can say what you want about the John Birch Society, but when it comes to the Freedom Index and stuff on his face, the content is very good on this subject. So folks, take a chance just to look at it, and you'll be surprised. Even the ones you praise, their constitutional record is heinous. All right, Lindsey Graham, he's very streaky. Okay, 57%, that's a high F. There's people out there worse than him. You'd be amazed. But that's what happens, folks, when people out there support party over principle or their personal needs over constitutional principles. It's got to be the other way around. But one thing I know, Lindsey Graham was a warmonger, and he needs to be rest in shame. This is why I treat him like John McCain and Zbigniew Brzezinski in good faith. So, enough of that. I want to be reading one more thing here. It came out yesterday from offguarding.org. Can we trust our feelings? It's written by Tom Hayden. Sure, as long we are conscious of their true origins, and even if not, sometimes we can trust, others times no. Feelings are odd things. They come out of nowhere, or they can be highly circumstantial. Like the rush of extreme fear when a bear jumps aggressively from behind a tree, they can also be mysterious gut feelings. Usually we have some awareness of their unconscious underpinnings. We sense whether a feeling is a solid gut instinct, something creepy, or simply good, as in, I just like that guy There was something about him that made me feel comfortable and trusting. But, and there's a big but, we know we have to be careful. The guy or gal who sweeps off our feet on a first date needs further scrutiny. We have all fallen into that pit, haven't we? Yes, I could say that. We've all been one way or the other. It is deep, dark chasm, and usually very difficult to climb out of. Did you ever wonder why, back in the day, marriage engagements often lasted what seemed an eternity? There were many social and cultural underpinnings, but one major reason was simply to get past the swept off your feet syndrome, to make what was largely unconscious conscious. So, what's the big deal? If our impressions of things and people rely too heavily on feelings, especially we are not conscious of their origins, we could end up in serious trouble. Most of the time, it doesn't really matter what your feelings are about other people. We see an actor we like or meet someone in the grocery store we immediately dislike. Actors don't matter much in our daily lives. Their entire craft is built on creating impressions based on unsubstantiated feelings. Most strangers we encounter don't matter much either, but people like our lawyer, our doctor, or our lover, with the exception of the latter, we usually have some objective basis for our assessments. What are their credentials? What is their reputation? Has the state licensed them? As I clear my throat on that one, we may still have a gut feeling, which remains important given their roles in our lives, but we temper the emotional response with at least some objective evaluation. We run into an odd situation with politicians. They are, or most people think they are, important, yet their persona and presentation are wholly geared toward generating a feeling with voters choosing among options. More often than not, they want that feeling to outweigh any objective facts. A lot of effort goes into this charade. Intellectually, many people may agree it's a game, but most still fail for the ruse. I see this often with celebrities too. People worship movie stars or sports figures regardless of whether they are decent human beings. They reach worship status quickly. Sports stars at least have an exceptional physical skill, and oddly enough, most totally untalented actors seldom become celebrities. Hating these types, actors and athletes, is less common, but when someone is set up for hate, for whatever reason, it flows effortlessly. Guess who I'm going to see as an example of this sort of hate? Donald J. Trump, of course. He is probably the most hated man in modern times, next to Adolf Hitler. I know. Sarcasm, right? We could cite others like Joseph Stalin, Pol Pot, Saddam Hussein, but Trump is the most current. Was he set up for hate? Absolutely. Although not entirely. He can be rather despicable at times, making it easy to dislike him. And a little media assault to his own formula, and you have one of the juiciest targets for hate projection imaginable. Exactly, folks. Can we say media manipulation? Of course. To start with, Trump does not have a conventionally likable personality. He comes across as arrogant, impulsive, boastful, and low on agreeableness and emotional stability, traits like rudeness, grandiosity, and a lack of empathy that many find off-putting. He is blunt, disruptive, and often vulgar in a way that violates traditional political norms. Not much there for broad appeal. Yet some of these brazen attributes are exactly what his supporters adore. His maverick, no-nonsense approach, telling like he sees it with little filter, rejecting political correctness and fighting the establishment, resonates deeply. Supporters value his authenticity, pragmatism, and willingness to shake up the system rather than play the polished insider game. What critics call arrogance or bullying, fans see as strength, decisiveness, and a refreshing honesty. Which sets of attributes do you think makes a better leader? Sadly, the ugly ones probably do. What about the really good and bad things? Haters rarely focus on substantial presidential shortcomings. Instead, they attack his personality. He means ugly, makes fun of people, has weird hair, is fat and has an ugly mouth. They label him as misogynist, a racist, and a felon. Defenders note that many accusations stem from selective outrage, legal warfare perceived as political persecution, or misrepresentation of his record on issues like criminal justice, reform, First Step Back, opportunity zones for minority communities, and strong support from diverse groups in elections. Supporters argue his blunt style gets twisted into isms while ignoring policy outcome or context. Of course, as of the writing, Trump haters probably have more substantive reasons to hate him. But at the beginning of the hate campaign, not as much. The point that I'm making about feelings is not confined to the true Trump phenomenon. Many of the Trump haters adore figures like Biden, Harris, Obama, or Canadians, Carney. Why? For the same superficial reasons: personality, looks, media framing, rather than substance. They were told to love these figures and hate Trump and his team. Although personality and appearance play a role, the press drives most of it. Most people don't look beyond that. Excuse me. So they treat politicians like movie stars or sports figures. Their gut tells them one thing, looks and personality another, and press fills the rest. Then they retreat into echo chambers where their biases is confirmed endlessly by social media, friends, family, the dog, and maybe a cat or two. Cats are primarily liberal. Feelings have their place. A strong gut instinct can protect us or guide us towards what feels right. But when it comes to high-stakes decisions, especially about leaders who shape laws, economies, and societies, you owe it to yourselves to dig deeper. Scrutinize records, policies, and result alongside the vibe. Conscious awareness of where our feelings come from turns raw emotion into informed judgment. Without that, we're just another audience member swept up in the performance. As I revisit this concept in our modern time, the divide feels even starker. The feelings-based politics hasn't faded. If anything, it has intensified. Trump remains a lightning rod, love or loathe, largely on emotional and media-primed grounds rather than calm analysis. Although that has changed a bit since the Iran conflict, the lessons hold. Question the origins of your feelings, especially when the stakes are this high. Let's continue to stay sharp by balancing heart and head. He has a book out too called The View of the Shrew. Came out last year. Interesting. And he's on point on this matter because people go face value, but they don't want to read the fine print. When it comes to this political realm in general, this life as a whole, if you're going to be critical, have merit, don't be a parrot. Dig deeper than what the media is telling you, because a lot of them aren't that accurate. It's just drama queen networks, I call them, and it is essential to know on these matters. Even myself, I always had a safeguarding nature. There's people in my realm, I could care less. This is how I am. I'm not trying to be too judgmental. And in due time, I find out things happen to these individuals, and I always feel vindicated. I'm not saying it's out of arrogance, but in good faith. If you got some folks out there don't give two craps about you, they want to use you. Doesn't matter what gender they are, or what skin color, etc. Okay? I always judge these people by their actions, and that's it. To be very sincere, there's people I love dearly, don't get me wrong. But we're still good friends and in awesome terms. Because it's a lot more bigger than just get swept off your feet and getting laid. It's bigger than what it is. And people need to focus more on the purpose in life and what their visions are in a positive, prosperous, spiritually prosperous way than how much material you have. I was talking to a friend of mine this past week about the drug scene as a form of materialism. And there's some folks out there committed suicide, aged badly. I don't know if some of these folks are still around. It's a real shame. And I never really fell for that. Thought about it. I'm like, screw this. That's why I enjoy doing my own thing. I don't like being persuaded. What should I do with my life? If people don't like it, they can leave. I don't care. And I made my mistakes also. Take responsibility for it. But most of us, we reconciled. And that's what counts. Always trust your feelings. Be vigilant. Observe responsibly. If you got to do a little homework on certain ordeals, like with Donald Trump or any politician, there's plenty of facts out there. That's why I sent this. I definitely want to share this link about Lindsey Graham. You can find other people in those offices, whether it's state or local. See how their track record is. It's good to know these things, folks. Remember, if you trust the government, you failed history. And follow your heart and soul. Look at things a lot bigger than what it is. Well, that will be it. Thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, all that good stuff, whatever you do, please use decorum. Hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me. If you want to donate, go to paypal.me or cash on app/look3. We would support the Epoch Times, the New American, or Off Guardian. The links would be on the footnotes would be in the below, and support them would be great. Observe responsibly. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.